Welcome in, everybody, whether you're on the East Coast, West Coast, or around the world. This is Coast to Coast. Happy Friday. How's it going, man? How goes the manhunt in your neighborhood?
Oh, yeah, interesting morning. You know, just a couple felony arrest warrants hanging out around my house to go get people driving through telephone poles and stealing cars. Nothing out of the ordinary.
Didn't realize you lived in the hood, man.
Yeah, apparently.
So before we went live, we were talking about YouTube just doing weird stuff from time to time.
Yeah.
And they saved something I did as a draft, but for whatever reason, I can't make it not a draft. So I'll have to delete it and start over. And so deleting it, it was just like, oh, yeah, are you sure you want to delete it? It'll be gone forever. It's like, yeah, that's the idea behind deleting, right? And what it made me think of is buying a house, the last page, right? And when you're signing for a house, you go through 5,000 pages of signatures and initials and all that. The last page is, are you sure you want to do this? Right? It's like, I just spent an hour and a half running a pen out of ink. Damn right I do.
You could have made this page 10. You could have made this page 5 before I went through everything else.
Right? Like page 1. Page 1 would have been fine. Are you sure you want to do this? It's like, yeah. Seems ridiculous.
That's like when that's like when you go online for shopping and online to pay bills, you click on checkout. Are you sure you want to purchase what's in your cart? Well, I did just click checkout for a reason.
I mean, so like in some ways for that one, I kind of get it because I've accidentally bought something that was in my cart before because I thought I moved it to out of my cart into my waiting, right? And I had a bunch of stuff in there and I clicked and I was like, oh, that actually seemed more expensive than I was planning. I was like, oh, it's because I ordered the thing I was going to wait on. It's like, well, oh, well. It's coming now. But, yeah, it's too bad we don't have Jay and Pags here today. Astros roll right through Philly.
Yep, they do.
They give them the sweep.
And now they get to roll right through my Cubs this weekend, who send our 3 worst starters into Houston this weekend. So that's a good time.
Perfect. Well, and at least our Mariners are keeping pace. With every game Houston wins, we lose one. So.
So you're making up 0 ground. You're losing ground.
I am definitely losing ground. Yeah. So I think they are 6.5 games back now. After getting completely demolished the last 2 games against the Twins. They just had nothing for them. I think the game yesterday was 11-1. The game before that was, I don't remember actually. It wasn't great. Like we.
You want to come back to Chicago? You were hitting in Chicago.
I would hope so. Yeah.
The wind is 30.
Yeah, I mean, they're playing Little League ball out there.
Yeah, you can come back to Chicago. You can win some games then.
Let's see. What was our game before it? It was 2-0. That one wasn't bad. It was the first. Oh no, I guess we split with the Twins. I guess I didn't realize that. I thought we lost that series.
Was it a 4-gamer?
It was, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we beat them the first game 11-2, snuck out of the second game 6-5, lost 2-0, and then lost 10-1. So actually, it was kind of balanced when you think about it.
I think the run differential is 0.
That's what I mean. Like it's actually pretty balanced. I think the run differential ended up being -1 for the Mariners, but even still, that's kind of crazy.
Nice.
Yeah. So there's that. But yeah, I don't know. I was hoping they were going to be here because that seemed like it would have been a funny conversation.
Yeah. I would have grabbed my popcorn for that one.
Right? Oh, well. Rodgers goes on Pat McAfee and confirmed that this is his last year.
Yep.
We'll see. But he goes on to say that you'll never see me again once I'm done. Just going to disappear.
I mean, 5 years from now when he gets his gold jacket, we'll see him again. So unless he decides that he doesn't want to show up in person.
Yeah, just something tells me he's still gonna find a way to be around.
No, I agree, but I'm just saying, like, when you hear him make a comment like that, oh, I'm gonna retire, you're never gonna see me again, but then it's just like you're a first ballot Hall of Famer, like you're getting a gold jacket in like 4 or 5 years, like people are gonna see you again.
Yeah, I mean, obviously for that event, he's gonna show up or whatever, but I have a hard time buying that he's gonna just disappear completely, coming from a guy that finds a way to be in the conversation all the time, right? Because if he didn't want to be in the conversation this offseason, he could have just not said anything from the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Just sign the deal, right? Make sure it has an out on it in case he wanted to leave. And nobody would talk about it, right? But he had to do I'm going to hide in a dark room and whatever. It's just like, yeah, of course you're in the conversation, man. You're doing weird stuff.
Well, the thing is, too, like, I find it very difficult, like, when he says that you'll never see him again, I find it very difficult that as soon as he's done playing that he's not going to show up on the Pat McAfee show, since he's been kind of like a weekly guest on that show for how long now?
Yeah, I mean, he gets paid to be on it. So
that's what I'm saying. Like, I find it very unlikely that he's just going to be like, oh, I'm not even going to do this show anymore. I'm not going to do anything anymore.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like he needs the money, though. So it's entirely possible. But it just seems unlikely for a guy that forces his way into conversations, right? And then, like, acts mad about it. But you're just like, dude, you're doing stuff that, of course, the media is going to pick it up. Because it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
But
he's just a wonderful human.
I mean, he might be a decent guy. I don't know. I've never met him, but I
was being sarcastic.
No, I understand. I just mean, like, I don't know either way. But yeah, so most people are, right? And it's funny because elite talent, right? And it wouldn't have been hard for him to have like just normal media interactions, and people wouldn't follow him. They wouldn't bother him about all the other things if he didn't do all the weird stuff he does.
Yeah.
I mean, if he just acted like a regular person, right? Which you don't have to, whatever, I don't care. But you can't do things that make the media follow you and then be mad that the media is following you. Like
exactly.
It's stupid. Yeah, well, exactly, right? Like he'll find ways to be around. I mean, that would be like doing this show and then being mad because people watched it. Like, right. What are we doing?
Like doing the show and then like getting mad because people are commenting because they're actually watching us. It's just like, why are you talking to us when we're on our show?
Yeah, right. Well, I mean, there is some element of weirdness that goes along with that, though, because like on Twitter, X, whatever, right? My handle is Football Talk with Bo, right? And about once a year, I get somebody that's like, how come all you talk about is football? It's like, I feel like the moniker on the screen would give that away.
Tell you that, right?
I feel like the first 2 words of it actually would probably let you know that I'm going to talk a fair amount about football.
All day, every day.
Now, if somebody were to jump in now and be like, how come you talk so much about the WNBA? Fair enough, right? Because the moniker is Football Talk.
Yeah.
But yeah, about once a year, I get somebody that's like, oh, you talk a lot about football. It's like, yep.
That's what I do here.
The whole point of this page. Like, who knew? But Yeah, I don't know. People are funny creatures. But so what do you got going on this weekend? Anything fun?
I'll just watch the NHL draft tonight for a little bit. Otherwise, don't think I have too much going on this weekend. Another weekend of no baseball for a change, so that's nice.
Oh yeah, your seasons are done, right?
Oh, we have tournament season now for my 11-year-olds, but we have like this weekend off and the weekend of the fourth off, and then we have 4 straight weekends of baseball then.
Oh, okay. Are you the coach for that one too, or?
Oh yeah, coach for everything.
All right. Yeah,
Coaching
right on.
coaching high school soccer this year in the fall also. So.
Oh, nice. When does your minor league stuff start? Since you got your credentials for it, like when do you start chasing all that?
Technically, whenever I want to. So if I wanted
Oh,
to
okay.
go somewhere this weekend, I could.
Oh, okay. I gotcha.
Like there's a couple teams that are within like 2 hours of me. Like you have the Milwaukee Milkmen in Franklin, Wisconsin. You have the Lake Country Dock Hounds, which are down in Oconomowoc, which is by Madison. Those teams are close enough to me. You have Chicago Dogs, Joliet, Illinois, teams like that. So if I just want to take like a day trip somewhere, I can just call ahead and be like, oh, I'm coming down for the day.
And then are these things that you'd get paid for writing or what?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Like that's cool.
Yeah.
So that's sort of a work as much as you want kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, I don't get a lot per article or whatever, but it's more so if I stay in a hotel, they pay for my hotel. Obviously the credentials the team covers for that, and then any like gas and like driving expenses I write off at the end of the year for taxes. So it's like, well, I'm not getting a lot of money for the articles, but they're taking care of hotel costs, they're taking care of everything else that would be out of my pocket that I don't got to take out of my pocket. So in a way, it ends up working out in my favor, anyways.
I did not see any of that. Wow.
Well, it's a 2-year prison sentence. It's not 2 years suspended. It's a 2-year prison sentence, and then Tampa Bay basically said once he serves his 2 years of prison, the Tampa Bay Rays said they'd be willing to give him another shot. I'm like, the dude hasn't played a game since 2022. Like, you think he's going to pick up a bat in 2027 and start swinging away?
Mom got 10 years for
Yeah.
traffic.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I didn't see that.
He got lucky. Yeah, that's why he got lucky. He was facing 15 to 20 years in prison up until the mom got busted for trafficking, and because she trafficked out her own daughter, she got 10 years for trafficking, and then he got the smallest punishment possible in Dominican, which is 2 years.
Crazy. Huh. All right. Wow. That is some wild stuff going on in sports.
I mean, yeah.
On that note, Tucker, right? He got his official suspension, so it is a 10-game. If somebody does pick him up, he'll miss the first 10 weeks.
Yeah, it'll be more than that. I don't see him playing this year.
No. The NFL already put it out. So, like, that's what it'll be. I imagine he could probably appeal some of it if he wanted, but I don't think that's probably going to be the case. That being said, if somebody does pick him up, they won't get him until week 11.
Exactly, and he's got to consider himself fortunate, too, because you look at the kind of punishment Deshaun Watson got for it. Like, Watson got done, for a year right off the bat for it?
No. He actually had a very similar He had a very similar suspension. What delayed his was his appeal. So that's why he ended up being like week 13 or 14, something like that. Had he just accepted it from the jump, it would have been a little bit shorter. Not that it mattered.
No.
But
yeah, the Tucker situation is going to be interesting just because I don't see anybody picking him up this year. But then you look at how great of a kicker he was the first 10 years of his career, and then all of a sudden last year he has the worst year of his career statistically. Mm-hmm. And then all of this information comes out like towards the end of the year, as the year's going on, you're going to have a team looking at it from one way saying, well, maybe the struggles were because he had all this going on and he knew that it was going to come out eventually. But then at the same time, the teams are going to be like, well, do we really want to bring him in if he can't get over these struggles or whatever?
Yeah, well, I mean, but then at the same time, do you wonder, is his inaccuracy, was it just distraction because of this stuff coming up? Right? I mean, because it could have been that.
Yeah.
So someone will probably take a flyer on him. But
I would think so, just especially with how many times teams like to bring in like 2 kickers into camp for competition because their regular kicker is struggling really bad at the start of the year, so they bring in that second kicker for competition.
Yeah, well, I mean, the thing is you could bring him in and he doesn't even burn up a roster spot with the suspension, right? Because it's essentially like he's on IR.
Yeah.
So you could bring him in for nothing if you wanted to.
Exactly.
Yeah, the Browns. Probably. Why not? They could get massages together. And then another Achilles, is that right? Man.
Yeah, that's for baseball, though.
Yeah.
Jenny.
Well, obviously it wouldn't be basketball. It's done unless somebody picked it up, playing in their yard. But,
could have been soccer. You never know.
Yeah, I mean, it could have been.
The Gold Cup is going on right now.
That's true. Yep, Gold Cup, and actually, there's a couple of different.
The Gold Cup has got the quarterfinals this weekend and the championship next weekend, and then the week after that, the League's Cup starts with the MLS against the Mexican top tier league, the La Liga.
Yep.
So then that cup will go on until the beginning of August, and then there's the U.S. Open Cup will pick back up in the middle of August once the La Liga Cup is over.
Yeah, and what the CONCACAF Cup is.
CONCACAF that's something that just goes on throughout the year. Like they play games sporadically, like throughout the season that count towards like the CONCACAF standings.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It's funny because I just don't follow soccer, but unfortunately, like that's probably my next step as far as sideline stuff. And like it'll be great to do. There's lots of fans here, and like
you'll enjoy it.
It's a necessary evil, but at the same time,
you'll enjoy it.
Like I weirdly would almost rather do the rain, the women's soccer.
Oh, the Sounders?
Only because the women's soccer in general tends to have more aggressive play and less like falling and whining.
Well, that's like all women's sports. Like you said that in the WNBA too, like how the WNBA plays like it's 1990s style NBA basketball.
That's what I'm saying. Like you walk by one of the guys, playing soccer, and you're not even close to them. They fall down and fake an injury and whatever. And then you got the women's soccer team out there like bleeding and like, I'm not coming out. You're just
there was a girl. What game was it? The Portland Thorns versus, I think, the Chicago Stars last weekend. The girl on Chicago, her name is Ludmila. She's out of Brazil, so she's like a transfer player.
Mm-hmm.
She had basically a clear 1v1 break on the goalie, and the defender reached out and pulled her down by the hair.
Yeah, see, there we go. Like this. I mean, that seems excessive, but
take the red card, but stop a goal in the process.
I mean, yeah. I guess at the end of the day, if it stops the goal, right? But if you're willing to leave the game,
there was only 6 minutes left, and it was a 1-0 game, so Portland ended up winning 1-0. So essentially, you probably saved a tie.
Yeah, I mean, so then all of a sudden a red card seems acceptable. That's a strategic play. And Rob, I did hear this. They've been talking about this for a couple of years. The thing is I think the impending strike is what is going to keep this expansion from actually happening.
And the other issue too is Montreal is, I think, going to be the other thing that keeps that expansion from happening, because with Montreal, they've pretty much been guaranteed that they're getting their team back.
Yeah.
And then the other market that you hear, or should be two markets, but Charlotte and Nashville are like the other two cities that are basically gaining the most steam of they're going to get another team. If you have Nashville and Montreal, or Charlotte and Montreal getting two expansion teams, Portland's not going to get one, but then you're essentially going to have to take two teams that are already in the National League and push them to the American League. You're going to have to take two teams that are either on the East Coast and move into the Central, and vice versa.
So the thing about that, though, is I don't know that that's entirely true, because there's a couple of teams that they want to move. And so you may be getting those expansion teams in those cities, but you might also be getting a team that moves. So like the Rays could potentially go to Nashville. And then...
That's what I heard this morning, actually 20 minutes ago, right before we got on.
What's that?
Rays look like they're going to Orlando. The people that are buying, the people that are trying to buy the Rays right now, they're in the process of purchasing this big open area in basically downtown Orlando. Once that sale goes through in Orlando, they're going to most likely buy the Rays, and then their plan is to keep them where they are for the next 2 to 3 years, build that stadium in Orlando, and then move them right to Orlando.
I got you. I mean, but that's not the only team there's been talk about moving.
No, there's several of them, yeah.
So if one of those teams end up moving to Montreal or Nashville or Charlotte, then that opens up one of the, expansion teams to go to Portland. And I honestly, another West Coast team would be good.
Especially for a Seattle rivalry.
No, exactly. And I think Portland would actually support baseball pretty well. So I don't know. Like, it would be cool to see. I don't think an expansion really happens, though. I think the only thing that ends up happening is a couple of teams end up moving.
Really?
The expansion doesn't happen because, again, you're a year away from a league-wide strike that they seem to be getting no closer to a resolution on. And I can't imagine that you're going to add two teams heading into a season that probably doesn't happen. Like, that just doesn't make any sense at all.
And if by chance baseball decides, we're gonna agree, or we're gonna give you guys a couple more years to figure your crap out, I think the only team that I could see getting a straight up expansion teams, no relocations, no anything like that, I think would be Montreal, just because they want their team back, because they lost it to the Washington Nationals when they lost it.
Yeah.
Like, they want their team back. They want their own identity. I don't think they want somebody that, like the Rays or the A's, or somebody that failed in one market and now they're being sent to like their market as, here's, a team for you since you lost your team. Like, I think the Montreal would get their own team, and then you might see like other teams just kind of cycling around, like relocating.
No, and that's my point though. That's why I said they would get one of the expansion teams, and then it would be somebody moving to Charlotte or Nashville, and then Portland would get their own team, because they probably want to create their own identity as well, right?
Yeah.
Would be my guess, but I mean, I think Portland will take a team however they can get one.
Exactly.
So, like, if it ended up being somebody moving, I think they'd be open to it if it just meant that they actually got to have some professional sports.
Right.
I mean, because outside of basketball, they don't really do anything.
Well, the soccer team is actually better than the basketball team, the Portland Timbers.
Yeah.
Then
Again, I don't watch soccer, so I never think about MLS.
And the Portland Thorns on the women's side, I think they have the second best record on the NWSL. So, like, soccer in Portland's big.
Yeah.
They need a hockey team in Portland, though.
Man, that'll be a while. I mean, it doesn't seem like it should, right? Like, they already have a stadium for it, but an arena. But yeah, I mean, as long as it took for Seattle to finally get a team, I mean, the NHL, I don't know what it is, but the West Coast is not a spot where they really focus energy.
And it's weird, because you look at the NHL landscape, maybe not this year, but like the last several years, a lot of the West Coast teams, whether it be Vancouver, whether it be like Los Angeles, I mean, they have very good soccer in the West Coast. The Vegas Golden Knights, the Colorado Avalanche, like hockey
Yep.
out west is a very competitive sport. But for whatever reason, the NHL's like, no, we'll stick a team in Florida. No, we'll move a team here. It's like, no, you have spots out west that would do well with hockey.
Yeah, I mean, markets that would take it, that don't already have one that's close. I mean, that's one of the biggest things with the West Coast is everything is really kind of stretched out. So it's not like the East Coast where, yeah, you may not live in the state that has one, but the states are smaller. So you're only a couple hours from getting to one of them. If you're in Washington, you're 3 hours from a border.
Right.
Not 3 hours from another stadium. You're 3 hours from a border. So, I mean, yeah, I don't know. Like, even if you were to go to Vancouver, if you're in Seattle, that's a couple hour drive.
Yeah, and that's kind of how I look at like Louisville too, because you look at Oklahoma City and how they just won the NBA title. Yep. The Thunder are the only professional sports team in Oklahoma. Like that's what they have. And you look at Louisville. Yes, they have the Louisville soccer team there, but they're not part of the MLS. They're part of the USL, which is like the second tier league, like the second tier league, not the top tier, but the second tier league. Yeah. But outside of that, like Louisville is a college town. Louisville needs to get a Major League Baseball team or an NBA team. Like Louisville is one of the biggest cities in the United States that does not have one single professional sports team in that market.
I feel like you have to put baseball there.
Yeah, I'm saying like you put baseball there or basketball or anything, you have to consider the other aspect of it. Louisville is about 2 hours north of Nashville. Well, if Nashville doesn't get a baseball team and you send one to Louisville, you're going to get the fan base from Nashville to come up to Louisville because it's a 2-hour drive to watch a game. Then Cincinnati's like 90 minutes from Louisville, so you're going to have the Cincinnati Reds-Louisville rivalry there and like all these surrounding states that are Indianapolis too. Like Indianapolis is a 3-hour drive to Louisville. Like you have 3 big market cities that would easily flock to Louisville because that's the only professional baseball team they have in those areas outside the Reds.
Yeah, so the only professional baseball, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like when you look at Indianapolis's market, Nashville's market, and how big those markets are, like putting baseball in Louisville makes sense because you would get the Louisville market, you'd get the Indianapolis market, and the Nashville market, like 3 huge markets to follow that team.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I feel like they're the last place that's actually going to get it, but...
No, I agree, but I mean, you have the Louisville Slugger Museum there, for God's sakes. Like, they make the baseball bats that Major League Baseball uses, and yet you don't think it's a good idea to have a professional baseball team there. Why?
Well, and don't they have a large following for their minor league team?
The Louisville Bats, yes, because their stadium is like a half mile from where the actual Louisville Slugger factory is. Okay. But it's their stadium and then the Charlotte Knights, which are the White Sox AAA affiliate. They are the only 2 AAA stadiums that are actually Major League approved as of right now, where they can hold 20,000 people. So they really don't have to. I mean, obviously they would add seats in the outfield because there's no real seats in minor league baseball in the outfield compared to the majors. But they can add 10,000 seats, and they're both 30,000 seat stadiums. Like Charlotte and Louisville are the 2 AAA venues that are basically MLB ready stadiums as they sit right now.
Yeah.
But that never made sense to me. Like all the cities that you have baseball, it's like you make 90% of the Major League Baseball bats at the Louisville Slugger Museum and the Louisville Slugger Factory, but yet you don't have a Major League team there. Why?
Yeah. I don't know. Baseball does a lot of weird stuff. Sometimes I feel like they try to get in their own way.
They do. Like Rob Manfred especially gets in his own way, and he tries to do things he tries to make changes that shouldn't be made. Like granted, yeah, some of the changes he's made has worked in his favor, but so many of the rule changes that he wanted to make is completely pointless.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, I mean, and some of the rule changes I get, right?
Yeah, like the pitch clock. I'm fine with because it speeds the game up. But like the bigger base is like, okay, I don't understand why you need bigger bases. Like, okay, you want people to steal bases more. Okay, the pitch clock helps people steal bases more because the pitcher can't pay as much attention to the runner at first.
Well, and your inability to check a runner a bunch of times, right? Like you got to do it 3 times.
So now the bases don't matter.
Exactly. And I didn't get the bigger base anyway. Like I don't know what that extra couple inches actually helps.
Apparently, it's helping a lot because stolen bases are like an all-time high the last 2 years. So I mean,
I don't think it has anything to do with the base.
I think it has to do with what you said. Like a base runner can get a lead, force a throw over. He can get a little bit bigger lead, force a throw over, and then it's like, well, he's thrown over here twice, so he can't throw over here again. So I'm going to get a real big lead now and then just go.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, I would say it has way more to do with that than a couple inches on a bag. Yeah. And some of these things, like leave the tradition alone, right? Like some of the dimensions of the diamond and stuff. I mean, like leave that stuff alone. Like that is baseball.
Right.
Changing the size of the bag, that's really dumb. The pitch clock, I get it. You're trying to not have a 4-hour game because somebody has a weird, setup. Or they have that, being able to check runners. I remember watching a couple of those where they like threw over there 5 or 6 times. It's like, okay, I get it.
The other rule that he put in place that I was on board with right from the start, but I know a lot of people kind of got upset about, was the 3-batter minimum for the relievers. And I'm like, that is a great rule because it prevents a manager from going left, right, left, and just like every batter. Oh, you face your lefty, I'm going to bring in a pitcher. Oh, you face your batter, I'm going to bring in a lefty, and that like slows the game down. But my theory on that was, if you're a major league pitcher, whether you're a starter or a reliever, if you can't get right-handers or left-handers out consistently, you have no business being in the league anyway. So the 3-batter minimum shouldn't matter at that point.
Yeah,
like you should be able to go after 3 batters.
I think that has less to do with that and more to do with the batter themselves. So they're probably looking at the analytics of the batter and being like, hey, this guy strikes out routinely to a right-hander. Let's bring that in, right? So I think it actually has less to do with the pitcher and more to do with the batter they're facing. But it's and I mean, the thing is maybe it slows it down by doing that, but you only have so many pitchers anyway. So it's not like you can do that forever.
Right.
But I don't know. The one that I really don't like is the extra innings somebody's on second.
Yeah, that is dumb.
I hate that rule so much.
We have to do that in high school now. It's stupid.
Oh, really? Yeah. See, I don't love that. Like, make them earn the win. You didn't get it done in regulation.
It's even worse in high school, though. It's even worse in high school, though, because you start with a runner on second base, but you also start with 1 out.
What's the point of
that? So at that point, you can't even bunt the guy over, because then if you bunt him over, then you have 2 outs and a fly ball. You can't even get a run on it.
Yeah, I don't like rules that get rid of strategy. Like, those types of things always make me mad.
Yep.
It's like, don't dumb the game down. Like, let it continue to be a chess match.
But it goes to show you how fundamentally flawed Major League Baseball is, because you look at how many teams have this ghost runner on second and how many times the team fails to score not only in the 10th but also in the 11th inning. That just shows you like how fundamentally flawed Major League Baseball is, because this rule is dumb, but yet Major League teams refuse to bunt, and they're like, oh, runner on second, I don't need to bunt him over to third, I'll try for the big inning. Oh crap, I got nothing.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I wish some would stop changing. And that's true with all the sports. Like there's ones that come into the NFL, you're just like, what are we doing? Or when they were trying to get rid of the tush push, it's like, come on, just have some better defense.
Get some more fatties up front to stop it.
Yeah. Or just don't let them have 3rd and 1. Like, just play better defense before that. I don't know. And I get some of the argument, right? Because they're like, okay, well, but on defense, you're not allowed to push anybody to get through the line. So, it's a little bit unfair, I guess, in that way when you think of like a rugby scrum which is kind of more or less what you're looking at here. If the other side doesn't also get to do the same thing. But that being said, just if it was so easy and unstoppable, then every team could do it, and they can. So just because one team is good at it doesn't mean you should have a rule against it.
Exactly, because one team knows how to execute it and the other teams don't.
Yeah. So get better at it. Like, I mean, you know, like bring in the personnel that can make that happen. And I mean, when you listen to Jason Kelsey, I mean, he said it was a miserable play to be part of the offensive line.
Right.
So, I mean, you're also beating up your own guys doing it. Now, it didn't sound like it was a, you know, you're going to get hurt kind of thing. It just sounded like it was an incredible amount of energy to make happen.
Yeah, incredible amount of energy to just get in just such a perfect position to get like 1 or 2 yards.
Yeah. Yep. I don't know. We'll see. We did just get a report, just hit my email, for tonight's Storm game. Katie Lou Samuelson still out with a right knee injury. Lexi Brown out with an illness, so she will not be available. That'll be the second game with the illness for her. But speaking of injuries, Caitlin Clark, groin injury, going to miss some time. And it's funny because people have been kind of burying her because her shooting percentage has gone down.
That could be why.
Well, not only that. I mean, yes, obviously injuries, certainly lower body injuries can disrupt your ability to accurately shoot. But also teams are double teaming her all the time. And it was funny because there were some people that are just like, oh yeah, she's not that great. Her 3-point percentage is like 54th in the league now. It's like, okay.
Coming from the people that probably play NBA 2K for a hobby, would probably still shoot worse than her on that game.
Oh, no question, right? Like they're at the rec center getting smoked. But at the same time, you're just like, okay, so if you have a double team in front of you and your assists are going off the charts because you can't get a shot up, right? So you're dishing it out for your teammates, which, you know, you should be doing. But on the shots you do jack up over double coverage, what happens to a efficiency rate on offense when you don't get a clean look? Does it drop? Pretty sure it drops, right?
Yeah, heavily.
I mean, it's funny because it's just like, oh, she's bad. And it's like, maybe you guys should try watching games instead of just looking at the stats and being like, oh, yeah, she's terrible now. It's like, no, defenses are playing her in a very smart way, daring the rest of her team to beat them.
Right.
Which is exactly what you're supposed to do. That's why you had guys like Calvin Johnson get double teamed all the time. Because they're like, you know what? He's not going to beat us. The rest of your team's going to have to figure it out. So I always find it funny when people are just trying to drag players for no reason.
Right.
It's just like, okay, I mean, they can be good and also just be in a slump. Like that happens too. I don't think that's necessarily the case here. I think she's been dealing with an injury and is getting double teamed all the time. So yeah, of course your percentage is going to go down. Like, right. This is not rocket science.
Are you sure?
I mean, I'm pretty sure. Pretty sure. Otherwise, I've been severely underestimating rocket science. Or overestimating, I guess.
There you go.
Oh, man. But yeah, so if that being said, if anybody in the Northwest is going to the game, we'll see you there working this one also. So be sure to say hi.
Who do they play?
Tonight they are playing the Connecticut Sun. The Sun, I want to say, is either the worst or second worst team in the league.
It's like Chicago's the worst, I think.
I think it's a pretty pretty close battle for last there. Let's see. We got. Let's see. WNBA standings. So we got. No, the Sun is 2-13.
Oh yeah, they're the worst. They're the worst by a wide margin.
Yeah. Well, a couple of games anyway. The Wings are 4-12. The Sky are 4-10. So. And then the Storm's still sitting in 5th at 9-6. So they're still right there. Still in the playoff hunt. I would fully imagine tonight should be a win for them.
Yeah,
the biggest thing for them, though, and it's been true in all of their games, is rebounding. It has been a real issue for them. And it's so weird because rebounding's just a hustle play, right?
Yeah.
But they have the leader of the league in steals. They have Ezzy is 3rd in blocks. And for some reason, that's the end of the hustle play that they're not getting is rebounds. So then it makes you wonder, it's like, okay, is their aggressiveness for getting steals and blocks, is that making them be out of position for rebounds?
Could be.
I mean, because that's all I can figure is like if you break in and you don't get the steal and you don't get the block, the shot goes up, your momentum is taking you away from the basket generally, right? So maybe that's why people are getting out of position to get those defensive rebounds. But, I mean, against the Fever, they had less defensive rebounds than they had offensive rebounds, which, you never want to see a stat like that.
Exactly.
So, that's one of those. It's like, okay, are the way that they are aggressive is that impacting their ability to be aggressive at the boards? And, I mean, I have to think it is. Watching it, you can't really see it that way other than they're just not necessarily in position. But you're also so focused on what's happening around the ball, you're not necessarily always seeing what's happening outside of that. Like, should somebody be breaking down to try and get that board, stuff like that. So I don't know. It seems like something they need to address, just because when you look at all the other defensive stats, they have a player that's really in the top 6. And then you look at that stat and there's no players to be seen.
Right. Exactly.
So I believe defensive boards, Ezzy is maybe 9th or something. But offensive boards, they don't even have anybody that's ranked in there. So then you have that whole element of not only are you kind of out of position for the defensive rebounds, but why do you not have someone in position for offensive rebounds?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's why you can sign someone like Angel Reese. She can get you some rebounds.
Yeah, well, especially right now, she's actually having a really good run at the moment because they're kind of starting to use her the way they should be. They're letting her get her points.
Yes.
In a more meaningful way. Her assists are coming up, which means she's making better basketball plays. And then a lot of her rebounds have actually been defensive rebounds. The caliber of her play over the last few weeks has really started to come up. And I think it's because they changed the philosophy of her having to be the lead scorer. And
well,
not
only that, but they finally realized that they have a 6'7" woman named Camila Cardosa that, she's 6'7" and is one of the tallest players in the league. How about we feed her the ball in the paint instead of Angel Reese?
Yeah. Well, I mean, when you think of how many times Reese got blocked, right? It's like, okay, let her dish the ball out, and then her points will come to her, because now you don't have scenarios where she's triple teamed under the basket.
Yeah.
Like, let her kick that thing out. And so they are finally starting to do some of that. And, it's making her stats far more well-rounded.
Yep.
But if you wanted to bet on her missing her first shot, you still can, using this QR code right here. Up to 125% of your first 3 deposits, 10% bet guarantee if you happen to miss or she doesn't. So use that QR code right there. Bet right alongside us here at Coast to Coast. And, of course, if you're in the Pacific Northwest, you can use this QR code, True Fusion Gym, free 5-day pass, any of the 3 locations, Bellevue, Ballard, University Village, Pilates Boot Camp, Yoga Bar, and more. Find your edge, True Fusion Gym. And one other, if you are here in the Pacific Northwest, Archer Duck Cleaning, if you don't remember the last time it was done, or you just want to do some summer cleaning now, I guess, there's more than 15,000 dryer fires every year for dirty dryer vents. Be sure to get that scheduled today. All right. There we go. Got to get the business out of the way. What other stuff in sports news today?
Not really much today. Today's just you got your post NBA draft, your beginning of the NHL draft, and then a week and a half from now the NBA Summer League starts. So it's pretty much just baseball and soccer the next 40 days until preseason starts.
I guess on the NBA draft, there was the asking for a trade from the Jazz already.
Yep.
That's a bold statement.
Not going to happen.
Probably not, but that's crazy. But we'll see how that plays out. But I'm going with not great.
I'm going with what is a good way to end your NBA career before it starts for 200, Alex?
I mean, I don't think it's going to end it. The kid has talent.
He does, but at some point, we see this in every sport, at some point, does the talent outweigh the headaches? Well, we don't know this before he even plays a game.
And that's why he's still going to have a shot, because we don't know yet, right? Like, he's never stepped on an NBA court. So it may be worth it. It may not. You don't really have an idea. So someone's going to take a flyer on it.
Yeah.
Right. That's like if somebody's a headache with their first NFL team, a second team's going to take them, because they're going to be like, they're that girlfriend that saw that their new boyfriend had a toxic relationship, and they're like, I could change him. Right. Like that is 100% what happens with athletes. You can be a problem in your first location. Someone's going to give you a shot.
Yeah.
If you're a problem in your second location, then it becomes a different story. Then people are like, okay, you know what? Maybe this isn't worth it. But if you're a problem in the first spot, there's always another team that's like, you know what? I think we can make this work.
All right.
But yeah, I don't know. We'll see. That's exactly it. They never change. The only change that ever happens is if you want to change. And they generally don't, because the guys that are a super problem tend to have stuff given to them, and there's no incentive to change. So, usually if they're changing, it's because something bad happened. And, I always think of like Stephon Diggs, right? He goes to Buffalo because he was a problem, because it's not like his talent wasn't there.
No, his talent was there.
And then he gets to Buffalo. He's good for most of a season, and then he becomes a problem. He goes to the Texans. He immediately gets hurt, and even they don't want him there anymore. So then he goes to the Patriots, and he's a problem before anything even starts.
Yeah, true.
And what realistically is probably his last stop.
Yeah. Well, he's 35 now, so I mean, he doesn't have much years left, and he's coming off of a torn ACL. So you're 35 coming off a torn ACL. You got to see how you even bounce back, anyways, because this is really his first significant injuries. He's had like ankle injuries, hamstring injuries, where he missed like 4 or 5, sometimes 6 games. But like this is his first significant. Oh, I missed more than half the season, getting towards the end of my career, trying to keep my strength up injury.
Yeah, well, but then he has just his off the field stuff that you're just like, okay, man, are you gonna grow up at some point? No, okay.
Well, yeah, that snorting cocaine on the boat with all the women, that ain't gonna help his cause.
Well, I mean, I don't know. Maybe it will.
Good.
So where are you off to now?
Picking my daughter up for summer school.
I gotcha. Right on. Well, that being said, probably shut this down a couple minutes early since you're just wandering around.
I was gonna say one quick thing about soccer since you love it so much.
Oh yeah.
Did you see the projections that they put out for the 2026 World Cup?
No.
So with the United States, Mexico, and Canada being the host, they estimate that anywhere from 15 to 40 million people will be present at these games. And in total, there should be 104 total matches. So it's going to be like equivalent to having 104 Super Bowls over the course of one summer.
That would be wild if something like that happened, if they get those kind of numbers here in Seattle, because Seattle traffic wise is a dumpster fire with the 3.2, 3.4, whatever that we have here.
Yep.
So if you were to jump that up 3 to 5 times, that seems like it'd work out awesome.
Yeah, you look at it, I think they said initially right now Japan, Russia, I want to say Costa Rica, and I think Jamaica are supposed to be in Seattle.
Okay.
For one of the groups.
Yeah, that would be because I think we have 2 games here, if I remember right. Might just be 1. We have 1 or 2, I think.
Yeah. I think you have 2. I think you have Japan versus whoever they're playing, and then Jamaica versus Costa Rica. I think are the 2 games that you have there.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, honestly, even if it just doubled, right? If you just had a few million people show up,
right?
Seattle would be a disaster.
Yeah, wait till you get a trials like that in Manhattan.
Yeah, but at least there's effective ways to move around the city. Like we literally put a convention center on top of our freeway so we can't make it bigger.
Nice.
In the middle of the city. Like we made a ridiculous choke point in the middle of the city and then put a building on top of it. So you're just like, cool. Like you can't move it up or down. You can't get wider. So you get a 5-lane freeway that necks down to 1 in the heart of the city. Like, I don't know what genius at Department of Transportation came up with this plan, but it's awesome. And it's not even like it's a small building that you could ultimately just demo and, do something with it. Like, this is a tower. So, I mean, there's nothing you can do with it. It's completely asinine. Our Department of Transportation does the wrong thing all the time. Like if there is a path where you're like, okay, this side makes sense and this side obviously doesn't.
You're going to pick the one that doesn't make sense.
Yeah, the one that doesn't make any sense. That's the one they pick every single time.
Nice.
And it is awesome.
Nice.
So, yeah, I mean, there's a reason why at 3 million people, we have some of the worst traffic in the world. And there's states with far more population that can maneuver around better than we can. But we just continuously do whatever is the wrong decision all the time. As long as it's a bad decision and expensive, that's what we'll do. Anyway, that does get us to the top of the hour. If you are watching on YouTube, be sure to like and subscribe. If you're watching on Roku, stay tuned for the next hour. Otherwise, enjoy your weekend. We'll see you all on Monday.